Searching for a job in Canada is a full-time job in itself. And if you have ever been in that position, you would agree that it is a daunting process. Whether you're searching for your now job, or you're searching for a survival job, or you're searching for your forever job, it can be a difficult process, especially when you don't get enough feedback. One of the reasons why you may not be hearing back from recruiters when you apply for jobs may just be your resume. And today I'm going to be talking about some common resume mistakes that you want to avoid if you want to start to get the desired visibility and the feedback that you truly want from recruiters. Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Marina. I am a recruiter, and today I'm going to be talking about common resume mistakes that you want to avoid in Canada. 2 videos back, I talked about job search myths that you want to stop believing. If you haven't seen that video, it's going to be in the description box and on the screen, or you can just scroll 2 videos back and you will find that. From the questions that I got in the comments, a lot of people wanted to know more about the resume and what recruiters are looking for when they look at a resume. So today, we're going to be diving right into that, a little more information about the resume, what you need to know, and what recruiters are looking for in your resume. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. A resume is basically like a snapshot of time. It is you trying to summarize things that you have done over the course of your career into a 1 to 2 page document. I understand that it's not the easiest thing to put together. So yes, I see why people struggle with capturing their resume and representing themselves the right way on their resumes. I'm a HR professional, as I have been for the last 10 years, currently specialized in recruiting, and I'm going to be using my experience to talk to you about some of the recurring mistakes that I see a lot of people make when they apply for jobs. The first mistake that I see a lot of people make in their resumes is that there is too much noise. And by noise, I mean you are trying too much, you're doing too much, and because of that, you have a lot of unnecessary components or unnecessary information in your resume. I'm going to break this down into the kind of information and the style of resume that I see people choose. You absolutely do not need to have cursives font styles on your resume. Some of those things can be difficult to read. So choose a legible, a very professional font style. Times New Roman, Arial are always going to be preferred, but if you're going to use another one, make sure it is professional and it is legible, like nobody's going to have a hard time reading that. Be consistent in the font size, in the font style that you choose. You do not have to have a different font style and size for every section of your resume. That's not necessary. Pick one and stick with it. Your resume does not need to have some kind of fancy background. As funny as it sounds, I have seen resumes where people go all out, creative with the background color, you choose font color. What you do not realize is that sometimes when those resumes pass through the applicant tracking system, by the time I'm seeing it, it looks weird. It is difficult for me to read. Sometimes there's a clash of colors. I'm looking at the background, I'm looking at the font color. It becomes difficult to keep up with the information. Resume becomes hard on my eyes, and if you're like me who wears glasses, you know that that's not fun. So keep your resume professional. You don't need all that noise, all of that razzmatazz. Even if you're applying for a job as a graphic designer, it is not on your resume you want to prove your skills as a graphic designer. Provide your portfolio, provide a link to your portfolio if you want us to see the work that you have done. But to try to achieve all of that with your resume, it can be very distracting. So leave it professional. Keep your font size, font style professional. I don't need to tell you, but using all caps on your resume is a no-no. Are you yelling at me? Are you trying to shout your qualifications at me? Because I don't hear you. All caps is tough to read. It is very difficult to read, extremely hard on the eyes, and it just seems like you're yelling. So please don't do that. Keep your resume professional, keep it clean, keep it easy on the eye, maintain consistent font size and font styles. You also do not need to put your full mailing address on your resume. You don't need to do that anymore. Just your city, your province. If you're looking for what to put on the header of your resume, your full name, your city and province, a phone number, and an email address is fine. If you want to provide a link to your LinkedIn profile, that's also fine as well. Optional, but fine. And please don't put photographs on your resume. Like, except you're applying for a modeling job with a modeling agency and there is an express requirement for you to provide a photograph. I don't even know if they'll tell you to provide a photograph on your resume or ask you to provide a photograph as an additional document. But either ways, please do not put a photograph on your resume. It's not necessary. The second part of the noise that I see on the resume is a lot of unnecessary unnecessary information. So I don't know where this starts from, if there's a cultural theme to it, but I noticed that a lot of people do seem to put like their full names, date of birth, father's name, nationality, religion. I have seen those things on resumes. You putting that information on a resume will open you up for unnecessary bias. You want to be judged on the skills and the competencies and the experience that you bring rather than where you're from. And when you put that information on your resume, you open up yourself to bias, you open up yourself to potential discrimination. So please do not provide any overly personal information in your resume. We do not need to know about your nationality or your father's name or your mother's name. All of that information completely unnecessary. So keep professional information on your resume only, nothing personal. The next common mistake that I see people make on their resume is as it relates to like the professional summary, the objectives, or the professional profile. Depending on the role that you're applying for and at the level, I will say this part of the resume is optional. I said it is optional, because what I see people put as objectives is basically you talking about yourself and what you're hoping to get from the organization. Most times people don't talk about the objectives from the value that they will be providing to the employer. So if you don't know how to put a professional summary, a professional objective in your resume, you're better off taking that component out completely. But if you're going to put a professional summary and a professional objective on your resume, you want to speak a bit about yourself and the value that you will be adding to the organization. So it must be this is who I am and this is how it benefits you. That's how you want to capture the information in that section of your resume. If it's all about you, what you're looking to learn, how you want to come and learn, it is of no value to the employer. If all you're doing is coming to learn and not giving anything back, then it's not necessary for you to tell me that. So if you're going to use a professional summary, if you're going to use a professional profile, that section of the resume, it has to be neatly written to communicate the value that you bring to the organization as against the value that you're looking to get from the organization. So demarcate the two, okay? And also, you do not have to have a summary and a professional profile on the same resume. You can use one or the other. You might choose to call it a summary. You can choose to call it a profile. You can choose to call it objectives. Whatever it is you call it, please have only one on each version of your resume. Then the next part that I see where people make mistakes is how if your education and experience is represented. One set of people say we would like to see experience first. Another set of people say they would like to see education first. As far as the resume captures your education and your experience, you will be fine. But from a personal preference standpoint, please note that this is my personal preference. I will prefer to see your education first. It's a personal preference. You're more than welcome to stick with your own choices, but I prefer to see education first and how your experience builds on that. Because I understand that some people have experience that is not related to their education, or some people have education that's not related to their experience. So I can't necessarily call that a mistake. Just make sure that that information, education and experience is adequately captured. The next major mistake that I see people make with their resumes is grammatical errors. This is a huge turnoff. It is a huge red flag for recruiters. You cannot possibly be submitting a resume that you have not checked, that you have not passed through some kind of spell check process, like use the spell check, use like Grammarly. You should be using those resources to make sure that the information that you're submitting is error-free. You can get someone else to take a look at the resume for you to make sure you haven't missed out on anything. But submitting a resume that has inconsistent fonts, inconsistent font sizes, and then you're making grammatical errors, it is a huge turn-off, huge red flag. So make sure that you're double-checking, triple-checking to make sure that you do not have errors in your resume. I understand, there's that small chance of the human error with those transposition errors and things like that. That's why you need a second pair of eyes to make sure whatever documentation you're submitting adequately represents you. If you're saying you're a professional who pays attention to detail, your resume must show me that you pay attention to detail. So grammatical errors, no, no, no. The biggest mistake that I see people make is in how the work experience is presented. This is one of the most important parts of your resume. If you're not representing this part appropriately, chances are you will not get past the first screening stage. The work experience, I understand how tough it might be to be able to condense work that you did for 10 years into like a heading and maybe 6 to 7 bullet points. This is the reason why you must understand how the work that you have done relates to the work that you're trying to apply to. So say you're applying for a job as an accountant and you have 10 years accounting experience. I know that it can be difficult condensing what you did in 10 years into 6 to 7 bullet points, but you must understand for this role that you're applying for, are there specific things that have been called out in the job description that you have done in the past? That's where your focus should be. So as against trying to replicate your job description from your other role, let the bullet points that you provide under your accounting role be focused on what the job description is specifically asking for. So if you have experience in a lot of other areas and you don't want to waste all that time capturing information that may not be necessary, look at the job posting. What are they asking for? How do your skills align with those things that they're asking for? If you have experience in those areas, that's where your focus should be. So as against trying to capture everything you did in 10 years, the emphasis would be exactly what the job posting is asking for. That's how you optimize your chances of getting through the first stage screening and getting in front of a hiring manager. That's the aim. When you represent your job experience, represent it from an area of this is what I was required to do and this is how I did it. This is the impact that it made. If you're going to be quoting numbers, like I said in my previous video, it's okay for you to quote your impact in percentages, but please quote percentages that is verifiable, because if you're asked to back up what you have said, you should be able to back it up. Use action verbs. Those things are important. If you look at the job description again, it would point to you what the recruiter is looking to see. Represent the work that you have done in a way that the employer sees value in what you have done, as against just copying and pasting a job description. That's not going to help anybody. This is the part that I see a lot of people struggle with, and it can be hard. It is going to be hard to know which part of my 10 years do I put forward, which part do I scale back on. Again, it's reading the job description and aligning your resume to the job posting. Which brings me to the next mistake that I see a lot of people make. You use one version of your resume to apply for everything. Do you know how I know? Sometimes people apply for jobs and the way their resume is titled is a different organization. I have received resumes where the resume is named, like the document is named the person's name and the name of the organization that they have applied to. They use that same resume to apply for many other jobs, even in different organizations. So say, for instance, the person named their resume John Doe, company ABC, but John Doe now uses that same resume to apply to company XYZ. So I received the resume and I'm seeing the resume named John Doe ABC. It just doesn't look good, guys. I'm telling you the truth, it doesn't look good. You cannot use one version of your resume to apply for everything. When we say searching for a job is a full-time job, this is the work that is needed. Customizing each version of your resume to look like the job description of the job posting you're looking at, that's where the work is. But this is work that needs to be done. If you're looking to increase your visibility, if you're hoping that you get past that first stage screening and in front of a hiring panel, this is the work that is required for you to do. And last but not least, please keep the lies out. Keep the lies out. This is a mistake. Like, don't lie. Don't lie on your resume. Do not lie. Even if you're trying to switch careers, there is a way to still represent your resume from the angle of the transferable skills that you have. What are the skills that you have built over the years and how are you going to be bringing it to this new role? That's what you want to focus your resume on, to emphasize those skills as against lying. Because when you go back and change those titles, it's going to be hard for you to sound like what you're trying to create. If it's not true, if it's not there, it's not there. If you're switching careers and you have transferable skills, I would say optimize your resume for the job that you're trying to apply for, but this is where a cover letter will come in. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about a cover letter. Is it really necessary? Are recruiters still looking at cover letters? You will find out in the next video. So if you would like to see content like that, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that you become aware when I post that content. Anyway, I hope that this video has helped you to shed more light into what I as a recruiter and other recruiters are looking for when we look at your resume. I hope this helps. If you have any further questions in this area, please leave that in the comment section below. And as for the resume cafe session that I talked about, if you're interested in attending the resume cafe, I would leave a Google form in the description box of this video. Please do well to fill that out. It will give me an idea to guide logistics and what exactly I should be planning for. Please note that this session is going to be a paid session because we're doing it at a venue. I'm going to be renting a location, and there are a couple of logistics that are involved with that. It is going to be a paid session just so that I can manage the expectations. I hope you learned from this video. If you did, please share it to somebody who you think this video will be beneficial to. And until I come your way in the next video, it's your girl as always saying thank you and have an awesome day. Bye guys.